Alright. Cool. Hi, Zizaran here. I'm gonna do the raw reading of the PoE 2 patch notes. I'll have a TLDR up as well. It's a pretty long one. That's a decently long one. Ah. It's like medium. Medium length? Alright. The Fate of the Val League. Start fresh in a new economy with the Fate of the Val League. All of your characters are converted. Are still present in Early Access League, but a free passive tree refund has been granted. I'd highly encourage you to join the new league. We will. Fate of the Val, you will find remnants of the ancient Val civilization. Blah blah blah. The normal leagues. Added a new playable character class, the Druid. Added new Oracle and Shaman Ascendancy for the Druid. 20 new skills, primarily primal skills. 35 new supports. These will change the game a lot. I'm particularly excited for the Fire Prolif one, although it does sound like Ignite and Fire just needs more work. 8 new lineage support, much more powerful supports that are only available. I really liked those. 250 new passive skills to the passive tree. 10 new unique items. Over 10. Okay. Added a new weapon class, talismans. They are two-handed martial weapons. After what we've seen so far, really would like to start Bear. I really want to play the Balrog thing. That looked so hecking cool to me. That looked so cool. I want that. That looked sick. And some of the bear moves looked sick. Like the one where we're like, you know, you were just crushing through everything looked great. I barely want to try anything else. Added 4 new augment items with new modifiers they can craft onto your items. Yeah, I'm really excited for the hand augments too. Is that what these are? Added 4 new augment items. Also, can we just get an applause for this line in every Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 patch notes? Just the audio team, art team, sound team, effect team, environment team, they're killing it, and they get this small line every patch, but like they really do a great job. Abyss has been added to the core game. You can find Abyss encounters in specific campaign areas starting Act 2. Abyss encounters have been added to the endgame, as well as Abyss tablets and related modifiers. Added an Atlas passive tree for Rise of the Abyssal. Preserved vertebrae. No longer dropped. Wait, which one's that? Oh, that's Amulet, right? For, like, during the leveling? Is that the Amulet one? Oh, no, that's the Waystone one. Right, that makes sense. I'm stupid. Can we forget I said that? Thank you. Updated the well to the account for the fact that Abyss no longer spawns in all campaign areas. Significant optimizations to CPU performance have been made. Do you know, I'm not gonna lie, whenever they were talking about that, I was in my head, I was like, well, of course it's 40%, or of course it's like way better CPU boost to remove 40% of all our fucking monsters. Of course it runs better. What were you expecting? Like, that was what was going through my head. It's like, of course. But campaign, it's a joke, okay? But still. You should get at least a 25% boost. Nice. I mean, I'm just excited. Optimization is always good. Tailwind, now around 1% increased MS, 2% skill effect instead of 3, 10% evasion instead of 15, and prevent 1% damage from deflected hits per stack. Okay. Base unarmed attack time is now 165 per second, previously 1.4. Modifiers to the number of enemies required to be surrounded can no longer reduce the required number of enemies below 1. Oh, why? That was such a cool mechanic. Though. Rage regenerate. That's a huge hollow palm nerf. Yeah, that was possible. Yeah, the helmet. Rage regeneration now pauses rage decay, similar to other means of gaining rage. This means that your rage will never decay while it is regenerating. All rage spending costs have been changed to 10 rage. Rage no longer causes a visual effect on your character until you have at least 10 or more, so that you know you can use these abilities. Physical damage reduction from armor can no longer cause a hit to deal 0 damage. This is mostly targeted at preventing cases where multi-hitting player skills could deal 0 damage to armored monsters at very low level. In these cases, they will deal 1 damage. Ignite aura effect, including ignited ground, no longer apply infinite ignites. Instead, they apply regular ignites with a standard duration and will reapply them to expire at the next time the aura applies flammability to the target. Ascendancy changes. Wind Ward has been removed from Deadeye. Bullseye now requires called shots, and it applies 10 critical weakness instead of 5. Added a new Mirage Deadeye Ascendancy skill, which grants the Mirage Deadeye meta skill. While active, firing a ranged attack projectile will create a Mirage that uses socketed ranged attacks for a short duration, then vanishes. Bama? Wait, but didn't we have that sort of already? Am I cooked? Didn't we have some sort of Mirage Archer thing? Did they remove Mirage Archer? Or do we have 2 now? Like, can you have 2 with this? That sounds kind of cool. It worked only after rolls? Yeah. Maybe this is like just a functioning... Is this just going to be an actual functioning Mirage Archer? This is actual Mirage Archer? Yeah, that sounds kind of interesting. Pathfinder, contagious contamination and practical remedies has been removed. Running assault now also grants cannot be heavy stunned while sprinting. Wait, that sounds awesome, doesn't it? Added a new Path Seeker multi-choice Ascendancy that'll have Path of the Warrior, can allocate passives from the Warrior, Sorceress, starting points. Grants 4 skill points. Traveler's Wisdom now requires Path Seeker. A true passive skill offer additional... Ain't no way, dude. Ain't no way. Fuck. Oh no. Well, Pathfinder seems quite good. Pathfinder it is then. The ES just keeps on winning, buddy. And that's ES and evasion. That's ES and evasion. Oh no. Isn't this is quite good too, no? Can't I just perma-sprint and not get stunned now? Elemental Surge reworked. Grand skill Elemental Surge now provides when you consume a charge, trigger Elemental Surge to gain 3 lightning surges. When you consume a charge, gain 2 cold, lightning, and fire. Okay. Ritualist. I forgot that was in the game. Sacrifice stolen modifier duration is 82 to 120. Oh. Cool. Quality is now 20 seconds. Wait, so it can be 140 seconds now? Crafted Life Force now also has you deal 15% more damage to enemies affected by Blood Boil. Might be usable, yeah. I think it will be. Warbringer. Imploding impacts now grants fully broken armor you inflict, increases all damage taken from hits instead. Huh. Ancestral Warhorn minion summoned by the answered call now consistently hits close-up enemies with the second part. I didn't try Warbringer at all. What did I do? I did like Mercenary, Lich, Stormweaver, something else. Surprising strength has been removed. Crushing impacts now runs 25% more damage against heavy stun enemies. Huh. What was surprising strength? Looking. Pricing strength is 50% more damaging as heavy stun enemies. So now the node is just your hits are crushing blows and 25% more damaging as heavy stun enemies. Added a new Mountain Splitter Ascendancy passive, which grants every third slam seal that doesn't create fissures, which you use yourself, costs 1 additional aftershocks ahead into each side of the initial area. Requires crushing impact. Right. Smith of Kitava. Okay, I'm very curious about this one. Each notable connected to the Smith's Masterwork grants 200 armor in addition to its other bonuses. That's smart. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Padded plates, lead lighting, and heavy bracing has been removed. Heavy bracing is body armor, grants 100% stun threshold. Lead lightning is 75 lightning. And the other one is 75 cold. So 75 lightning, cold, and stun remove. Added Kitavan imprints in place. 60% glory generation. The bear was gonna have glory stuff, right? Wasn't it? Mythic Kitava bear might be really good. Just refresh icicles. 100% thorns damage. Wow. 30% spirit. Internal layer is 100% reduces crit damage by 100. Wow. Immune to ailments. Oh, was that it? Did we still lose like Fist Taken as Ellie? Oh no, but we have body armor grants 50% of armor applies to Ellie damage. Honestly, Smithy Kitava might be kind of back. The fire spell on melee hit skill granted by Heat of the Forge now costs no mana when triggering socketed spells. 10% damage per level. 200% damage. Will that work with Bear? Isn't the problem here more that fire spells suck? I think this will probably, it might even be good this patch, but kind of fire just like sucks right now. Hopefully fire did get enough of a buff. But this, with fire being really good at some point, this should be really good. The temper weapon now costs no mana. The combust triggered by its empowered attack deals 25% more damage and base radius of 3. Manifest weapon now changes target less frequently and thus spends more time attacking. As a mace, CD of 6 seconds. As a quarterstaff, 6 seconds. As a spear, fix the bug with it. Didn't cover the full distance. Okay. Infernalist Seething Body no longer grants. While high on Infernal Flame, you and your allies gain 50% damage as extra fire. Now grants Ellie Archon when you cast a spell while high on Infernal Flame. Ellie Archon does not expire. And then lose it on reaching max. Blood Mage Whispers of the Flesh now grants Cursed by Eve 100% reduced regeneration rate. I thought it would be nerfed. Storm Vivar Refracted Infusion now grants when collecting an elemental infusion, gain another different elemental infusion, previously 50% chance. Oh, nice! Storm's Recollection now grants Remnant, can be collected from 50% further away. That's nice. I played Stormweaver as my last character. Multiplying Squalls now a +2 limit instead of 1. Nice. Chronomancer. Inevitable Agony granted by inevitability has been updated. Now ignores the curse limit. And now causes cursed targets to take 50% of hit damage dealt to them while cursed. Again when the curse expires. Used to be up to 33%. Oh, okay. Interesting. Demling Legionnaire. Thaumaturgical Infusion now runs +1 max cold rest, purple 3 blue. And same with Fire and Lightning. That's been buffed. That's pretty big. Thaumaturgical Dynamism. Granted by advanced thaumaturgy, notable. Now grants a charge once every 5 seconds. Instead of once every 8. Okay. Huh. I wonder if we can get more totems. But what's every 5 seconds? That's still like kind of cringe for Gemling spell totems. Yeah, but do you feel like it's viable to cast a totem every 15 seconds? I don't. I really don't like charges still. I'm a charges hater. I'm really struggling to enjoy charges. The supporting fire skill granted by Unleash Hell has been updated. Command at Death from Above is now 20 seconds instead of 40. Now fires a volley every 0.75 instead of 2. Fire 6 instead of 4. 14-meter width instead of 7.5. Attack damage is now 763 instead of 1140. Strategic Embankment has been updated. Artillery Ballista no longer increased 40% immobilization buildup. It has 20% skill speed. No longer runs 50% damage against immobilized enemies. It's 25% more damage against immobilized enemies. Mortar Cannon is 25% more damage instead of 15. Added Spell Totem to Embankment, and that is 50% crit chance. Witch Hunter. Witch Bane now has enemies have max concentration equal to 30% of life instead of 40. This is a buff. Ceremonial Ablution now grants sorcery word, also protects against physical and chaos damage. Huh. Invoker and protect me from harm now grants 35% less evasion instead of 50. The Soul Springs Eternal now adds meta skills to 50% reservation efficiency. Unbound by I Shall Rage has been updated with a 12-second cooldown. Unbound Fury when you inflict an Ellie ailment with a hit on an enemy and no longer has no more than once every 0.2 seconds. Oh. Shocking and Igniting now runs 1 Unbound Fury, previously 2. Acolyte of Chayula, Embrace the Darkness now gives plus 10 max darkness per level instead of plus 8. Into the Breach by Waking Dream leeches 15% life and mana instead of 7. Purple Flame lasts 8 instead of 5. Flames are created closer to the player. Choice of Power, Choice of Life, and Choice of Mana now grants 50% increased effective remnants and 50 pickup range. The Void has a cooldown of 4 seconds instead of 624. Up to 1268 attack damage instead of 670. The Void has 3 cooldown charges instead of 1. I didn't play Acolyte Trail at all, so. Passive skill tree changes. With the addition of the Druid and other new game mechanics, we've added passive support for these throughout the passive skill tree. There are many new clusters, mostly in the Druid area of the tree, and many existing passive skills have been updated. These changes may result in existing passive tree being forcefully refunded if you had allocated nodes around it. 250 new passive skills. The values of flammability magnitude on the passive tree has been increased massively. I hope this is enough to make fire good. All instances of gaining flame, ice, and lightning archon have been changed to elemental archon to better support builds using multiple elements. Hollow Palm now runs 1% more attack speed per 75. Oh. Previously 25. But higher base attack speed. The Walker of the Wild's Keystone has been removed, and its effect has been added onto newly added lineage support. Elemental Equilibrium now grants cold infusion remnants or fire. Fire is lightning, and lightning is instead cold. Scry crying right now. Crimson Assault grants 50% more magnitude of bleeding. Passives that granted reduced movement speed penalty from using skills have had their values lowered. More passives on the tree now grant the stat to make up some for this. Added 3 new attack area of effect clusters to the monk. 2 projectile speed clusters. Probably positive and 1 negative. Added a new bow cluster and modified a projectile cluster, granting surpassing chance to fire an additional arrow. Added a new cluster between Witch and Monk. Remnant Ascension. Principal Infusion now has remnants can be collected from 30% further away. The Grand Tribute from Heart of the Well. Unique Jewel now has remnants can be collected for 80 further away if you have at least 100 tribute, previously 50. Small nodes on the passive tree granted remnant pickup range can be 20% further instead of 15, 25 instead of 20. More presence instead of chance of consume glory. The pure power notable is no longer grants 2% lightning per 10 int. It is 10% more maximum lightning damage. Wildstorm no longer grants 15% max lightning. Instead grants 4% damage as extra lightning, 4% damage as extra cold, and 10% dex. Rename Tandem Assault passive tree to Hunting Companion with no change. Change the stats on several small passives with Inspiring Ally, Hunting Companion, Sikkim. Companion cluster small skills now generally no longer run companion skills deal increased damage and increased damage while your companion is in your presence. Okay, Crescendo are now intelligence instead of dex. Perpetual charge is now int. Mark for death is strength. Gamble shot in. Just change some gems around. Rip 70% movement speed boots? Yeah. Disabled Font of Rage and disabled Ricochet. Why? The inevitable critical support has been renamed to inexorable critical support. World drop lineage supports are now less common. Artillery's bloodletting. 2% extra fist per 20 life cost, previously per 10. No longer has a multiplier. Soft's Pyre now grants supported skills gain 40% of fire as extra chaos instead of 20. Ashes Radiance. The 40-40-40. Pulse Stillness. Okay, that's the same one. This is extra chaos, previously 20. Einar's Beast Right now grants killing blows from supported strike skills against the rare monsters. Grant 2 other modifiers for 5 minutes, previously 40 seconds. Headhunter. Previously 40 seconds. That's a big change. Zarok's Refrain now grants supported spells echo 3 times instead of 2. And 40% AoE. That's gonna be a pretty spicy one, no? That could be a really good one. Could that be insane with the volcano? Do you think you'll be able to have like 3 volcanoes down and 2 of them have Giga AoE? Wonder if there's a limit of 1 like an orb. Uruk's Smelting now run full armor breaking with supported skills. Take up to 5% increased damage up to 20. Previously 2 up to 20. Still shit because it's a CD. But that's not a big issue for that skill, is what I'm thinking. Do you know what I mean? Because that skill is something that you put down the volcano and then you go slam. So let's say that works, right? Let's say there's no limit on the volcano and then you get 3 giga volcanoes and then you're running around in bear form, spawning like hundreds of projectiles. That sounds really good, doesn't it? You don't care that you have a big cooldown on like a boss nuke skill. Like that could be really cool. If it has a cooldown, it doesn't cast the echoes? What? No, it wouldn't work like that. Relentless Propulsion now runs 75% increase in reduction to cast speed. Also apply to projectiles for instead of 50. Wow. Wait, this was already used now? If you put it that way, then it's fine for a bossing skill. Yeah. Yeah, that should be really good. Hans Citadel no longer has supported skills of 30% less AoE, or supported skills deal 30% less damage. Cool. Techrod's Revenge now runs a minion from supported skills die 20 seconds after having their life reduced to 0. Previously 10 seconds. And minions from supported skills gain 40% attack and cast speed when their life is reduced to 0 per C20. Rigwald's Ferocity now has supported skills of 30% attack speed if used from weapons at 1. Ratha's Assault loads 5 bolts when you dodge, previously 3. This one felt amazing already. And support skills load 4 additional bolts, previously 3. %20 increased attack speed. Wait, this one was already awesome. This one felt so good, dude. Like, actually so good. Arjun's Medal now runs 100% chance to load a bolt into all crossbow skills, dealing a killing blow with supported skill, previously 35. Okay. Tome's Madness now runs supported skills, deal 20% less damage, previously 40. Tawa's Tending now runs totems created 25% more life instead of 50. Tawa's Vengeance Explosion deals physical damage based on 20% max life of totem instead of 10. Zeri's Allure now supported skills of 20% less curse space instead of 25. Garakan's Resolve now runs max critical hit chance is 50%. Also, no longer runs supported skills become usable after you move 20 meters. Supported skills become unusable again after use. Korgol's Leash now runs Unholy Might for 15 seconds on commanding minions. Firstly, 5 seconds. Oh, that could be usable now. Also grants minions from supported skills gain Unholy Might when commanded. Previously 5 seconds. Eh? Oh, never mind. Cool. Arcali's Lust now grants supported skills deal 8% more damage with hits for each poison on an enemy up to 40. Versus 6 more up to 30. A lot of buffs on this. Taktati's Ire now has poisons deal damage 2% faster per rage, previously 1%. Huh. Eyelets. Isn't this also going to be really, really good? Surely you can do some sort of shaman thing with this, like a rage poison shaman. Eyelet's Chimes, 25% chance to gain a power charge when expending combo with supported skills per combo expended. This can exceed 100%, previously 10. Huh. Arbiter's Ignition now has a 100% chance to gain Elemental Archon when igniting, previously 20%. Nova Projectiles no longer cause supported skills to gain 4 additional projectiles or 40% less damage. Nova Projectiles 2 causing 6 additional projectiles, deal 50% less damage and a cooldown of 8 seconds. Huh. I wonder if you do this and like the Unleash, sorry, yeah, the Spell Echo thing and Volcano, and you just put down like 3 Giga Volcanoes. Heidi's Mercies, Dominus Grasp. Heal Chain 100% more times. Chain no longer gun supports 100% more times. 30% less damage with hits instead of 50. Okay, what does it do? Is it just +1 chain? It is just +1 chain. No longer 100% more times. Now chain 2 times. Previously 1. 50% less damage instead of 40. Chain 3 is chain 200% more times. No, no longer 200% more times and just +2. But no damage penalty. Culmination. More damage per combo, so you get up 10 combo and 20 combo here. But also 2% more damage per combo. Stormfire causes enemies shocked by supported skills to take a percentage of ignite as lightning damage as well as fire. Previously shocked supported skills do not expire on ignite enemies. Huh. Okay. Living Lightning. Living Lightning's attacks now deal the same amount of damage for each hit in the chain. Previously erroneously dealing less damage per subsequent hit. Huh. Cooldown of 8 instead of 5. Enraged Warcry and Rageforge are treated as spending rage. Upheaval and Breaching Fissure are no longer restricted to melee attacks. They can now support any skill which creates fissures. Impact Shockwave now actually makes aftershocks, allowing interactions with aftershock specific area and damage modifiers. Previously, it was actually a variant of Melee Splash, which did not benefit, and this allows a strike to cause both an impact shockwave aftershock and melee splash from the same hit. Impact Shockwave can now support non-strike wind attacks. Huh. Skill changes. The frozen mandible monster can once again no longer be bound as a specter or tamed beast. Buffed summon specter of certain monsters in each act and their in-game variants. Further details on which have been adjusted will be posted separately prior to release. Skill movement has been adjusted to reduce cases in which the player successfully uses. Far are we through? Wow. Fails to hit the enemy after dashing. Ice fragments are now unable to hit each enemy once. Ooh. The per target hits limit on Firestorm, Ice Storm are now displayed. Okay. Whirlwinds now take on elements from overlapping allied ground for 8 seconds instead of 4. Added wind type to the following skills. Twister, Whirling Slash, Wind Blast, Wing Blast, Whirling Lance, Wind Serpent, Wind Serpent's Fury, Tornado, Tornado Shot, and projectiles from Staggering Palm. Fixed the following skills by having modifiable limits that were not described as limits. Frozen Locust, Earthquake, Earth Shatter, Shield Wall. These skills can now be supported by Overabundance. Ah, interesting. Acidic Concoction can no longer consume poison nor trigger acidic bursts, like Vine Arrow Plant. Invocation skills now have 0.2 cooldown. Facing Salvo is now offered as tier 3, so is Wind Blast. Attrition is tier 4. Vaulting Impact and Ice Tipped Arrows is tier 5. Ancestral Cry, Volcanic Eruption now deals 211 attack damage instead of 205. Triggers Volcanic Steps every 1.2 meters traveled. Previously on footsteps. Huh. Ancestral Warrior Totem no longer has 25% less totem attack speed. Arc, 50% increased magnitude of shock instead of 50% more magnitude of shock. Oof. Damn. 50% increased instead of more. Dang, yo. Arctic Armor. 12 damage per stage. Previously 24. Just nerfed damage. 100% more face build-up, 100% more magnitude of chill. It's good. Armor Breaker, 181 attack damage from 156. It's now break 4.9k armor, so that's a buff. Attrition is 30 spirit instead of 60. Ball Lightning, buffed at low levels. Wait, at level 11. Has more damage later as well. 105 instead of 70. 375% more chance to shock. Previously 750. Fire Infused Explosion has more damage. Man, so much like lower on shock though. Scaling up to 856 fire damage instead of 431. A lot more damage, but a lot less shock. Ignited Ground now ignites as though dealing 200 to 300 fire damage at gem level 11. And 11, 1116. Okay, so like almost doubled. It's a lot more damage. The shock's less. Barrier Invocation, 30, so cast on Minion Death, also 30 Spirit. A lot of Spirit changes, I wasn't expecting that. Cast on Minion Death being 30 Spirit could change things quite a lot. Charge Regulation no longer grants more skill speed while you have a Frenzy Charge. 25 skill speed while you have a Frenzy. Huh? No longer grants more skill speed? Oh, it's increased. Oh. Comet. Fire Infused Comet. It's been doubled in damage. Almost. Detonating arrow, 30-40% buff. Disengage now runs 2 frenzy charges on consuming the parried debuff. Elemental conflux is a spirit of 60 instead of 100. Huh. So many spirit changes. Shock was the problem with the damage, yeah. 25 to 68 increased energy gained. So, little buff. Good spirit changes, yeah, very. Electrocuting arrow, attack speed of 110 instead of 80, 250 instead of 281, so a bit of a nerf. But more conversion to lightning. I was gonna say easy to get a 100%, but you can't get 100%, right? You can never do full conversion in PoE 2. It just does like, if you have 50% and you get another 50%, it's basically 75%. And then you get another 50%, then it's like 82 or 87. Ice fragments now an explosion radius of 2, previously 1.5. Ice fragments deal 45 to 131 attack damage instead of up to 172. Burst 3 projectiles instead of 4. Explosive spear now grants +1 limit of large spears every 8 levels. Frenzy charge and powered explosions now deal 200% more damage. 100% increase ignite effect instead of 0. Okay. Frenzy charge and powered explosions increase with length 5.9 meters. Cool. Eye of Winter, eye projectiles now travel a much longer distance, 25% less projectile speed. Fangs of Frost, 157 more freeze buildup. Explosion has 314 more freeze buildup. Cool. 8 seconds instead of 4 on the explosion. Flame Blast CDR is 10 instead of 15. Fragment. Doomfletch is 100% convert now. It sucks that it's only level 22 unique, but we have upping now. So that might change Doomfletch. The upping could change a lot. Fragmentation rounds now it's bolts pierce 2 targets at level 1, scaling to 5 at 24. Nice. We have uppies now, yeah. Freezing mark no longer costs an explosion. Instead, freezing the marked target grants a buff that grants damage extra is cold. Frostbolt, 195 more magnitude of chill. Chill, bro. What is upping? Upping is the thing in Diablo 2 where say something is like let's say that you know how there's like a normal, nightmare, and a hell base for things, right? Is what we call it. So like let me show you. So first so let's say 200 maces, right? So let's say that the leaden great hammer is the normal base, right? And then you have that the heavy great hammer is the nightmare or cruel base. And then that you have the merciless or hell base is the massive great hammer. They talked about in this interview that they are adding a form of upping with the Vaal Temple. So we don't know if that'll only work on armor or if that's going to be on weapons too. But they did talk about upping the base. So in Diablo 2, that would be like that you turn like this into this into this. We don't fully know much about it, but yeah, normal, exceptional, elite. They did talk about that specifically for uniques. So we don't fully know how upping works or what it works on. But that should be a big change for the game. They said just Vaal uniques to begin with. Well, I don't know if that was specifically for upping. They talked about Vaal uniques for removing the downside or removing a stat. I feel like we just have very little information about upping. I thought he meant like Falborn stuff. No. Like, this was definitely separate, right? I'm not hallucinating. He talked about upping separately to Falborn. Falborn only works on the Vaal items, and when you use it on a normal unique, it Ancient Orbs it, so that you always have something you can use. Was my perception of that. But I think we all agree that things are a little bit unclear in this department. We're a little bit unsure exactly what has happened, what made it in. It was a little bit of a confusing part of the interview. He said now there's a reason to keep low-level uniques. Yeah. There are changes. Frost Wall. Lightning infused Frost Wall now deals more damage. 60% increase or so. High level. Equal magnitude of chill inflicted as freeze buildup. Frozen Locust no longer deals 80% less damage if destroyed within 0.5 seconds by something other than you. No longer creates chill to ground. Ice Crystal no longer has collision. Now correctly works with an increase to limit. Frozen Locusts no longer have a hidden less damage taken from allies, and instead they now have a more damage taken from monsters, and the life of Frozen Locust Ice Crystals have been greatly increased at later levels. This change has been made to make Frozen Locust stronger with things to scale up the Ice Crystal life, while keeping the same amount of damage to destroy the crystals from players and monsters roughly the same. 9.5k life instead of 1.3. Gathering Storm. Perfect timing window has been increased. Much higher dash range. Shockwave is 20 max shockwave per use instead of 8. Plus 8 shockwaves per use instead of 2. Ghost Dance is 3 Ghost Shrouds instead of 5. Woof! Duration is slower. Wow. That's a big nerf to Energy Shield. A very big nerf indeed. Glacial Cascade Wave now converts 80% to cold instead of 60. Final Burst converts 100 instead of 60. Cool. Glacial Lance. Frenzy Charge Empowered Lance. Slightly more damage. Attack speed is better. More freeze buildup. Okay. And converts 80 instead of 60. So more conversions. What happened to Pathfinder? I mean, in my head, Pathfinder is the strongest Ascendancy. I don't know if that's just me or if you guys agree. Obviously, there's a lot of unknown with Druid, but Pathfinder looks absolutely fucking correct. Like, out of this world correct. Hailstorm rounds, 40 to 50. Bolts gem level 11 to 20. Slightly less damage. More reload speed. Herald of Thunder. Attack damage. Slightly nerfed. X-Blast. Max 10 explosions per cast instead of 3. Ooh. There was not a lot of lich changes, was there? Ice Nova, Cold Infused, and Chill Ground are both bigger AoE. Cold Infused Ice Nova deals slightly more damage on both high and low level. 0.5 seconds to cast time. Am I misunderstanding something, or are you getting punished for infusing your Ice Nova? You are. Okay, what am I misunderstanding? Someone explain. This is a buff. Wait, how is it a buff? Am I dumb? I'm very comfortable with being dumb. Someone explain why. I was joking. Oh. No, we agree this is a bad punishment for infusion. Oh, okay, cool. I'm like, I thought I was missing something. But I haven't. I haven't missed anything. Probably a slightly longer animation for dramatic effect. I'd be very okay with that dramatic effect. Um, you're being punished. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're on the same page. Ice Shard. Skill description now correctly states it cannot chain and that the projectile strike the ground. Farmers have more damage 2 seconds after arming. Cool. Ice Shot, 80% conversion instead of 70. Better angle. Ice Tipped Arrows, duration 20 instead of 8. Ice Fragment explosion is now 1.8 meter instead of 1.3. And Empowered attacks grant 100% of fist damage converted to cold. Cool. Incendiary Shot now consumes 15 heat to gain 100% more ignite magnitude. Incinerate deals 11. Okay, do we have the previous numbers? I did run this 8 seconds instead of 4. Or did it just not do damage per second before? I guess it didn't do damage before. Like, damage over time. Killing Palm now grants a power charge if a callable enemy dies while you're dashing to them. You know, I don't know. I'm really struggling to appreciate and like charges in PoE 2. Every time I hear or see anything with charges, I just get annoyed. Am I the only one? I'm not a big charge enjoyer in PoE 2. I just really like how charges work in PoE 1. Me too. At least I'm not alone. Yeah, it seems so like play this way to me. It's the most like please play this way to me, in my opinion, in the game. They don't work in PoE 1, they're non-mechanic. Right, PoE 1 or PoE 2, depending on where you prefer the charges. PoE 1. I mean, all of us might be wrong, but at least we're wrong together. Lightning arrow no longer bypasses the charge up time of lightning rod's burst. Like I just think like sure I agree with what Scryet said. It's a bit of a non-mechanic. Do you know what? Not everything needs to be a convoluted wind-up mechanic. Like it doesn't. It doesn't. Of course you like the version where they don't have to do anything. Yeah, you shouldn't have to do everything with everything. Okay. Do you know I like things to be like streamlined on some things. Why does he hate PoE 2? Did he say? I don't. I actually quite like PoE 2 since 0.3. Lightning Conduit provides 10% more damage with its per 5 shock effect, previously 20. Quality now provides 0 to 20 more lightning damage. Damn. That's kind of gutted. Lightning Rod. The limit of active rods allowed is now 10, previously 20. Somebody check on Fubgun. Lightning Warp, Explosion, and Shock Ground is now 3 meters instead of 4. Yeah, how are the vibes in other streams? Are other streamers excited? Are they excited, happy? Like how's Ben, Fabgun, Rue? Yazzie is not. More upset about speed. Yazzie's not, Fub is not. Baylor's not feeling it. Came from Try. Try likes the patch. Okay, but does he ever not? To be fair. Is Yazzie ever excited? Yeah. Rax likes it. Then limited as Mervins to 1 each. Yeah. We are the good vibe stream. It's not necessarily that I'm the good vibe stream. It's that, in my opinion, the game is never presented for people like me. I think they market it quite badly to advanced players, and I've learned to just play it myself and make up my own mind if I'm having fun or not. I've been doing that both at PoE 1 and PoE 2 now, and it has significantly enjoyed my appreciation of the game. Significantly. Still loved it? Shit. Nah, bro, you are the good vibes. Most people are fucking toxic takes. Well, I do see a lot of things that I am concerned about. Do you like PoE 2 overall so far? So far, it's been 50-50, I'd say. So I really enjoyed the launch. Obviously, everything was like fresh and exciting. Fuck, I can't even remember. I was like, was 0.2 Dawn of the Hunt? I'm trying to remember. Well, everything was like new and exciting at launch, but quite a struggle. The first, I kind of have to break up the launch because, frankly, even though things were new and exciting, the first 20 hours was something else. And I was really wondering about my future as a Path of Exile content creator. The first like 20 to 30 hours was something else. That has to be separate. And then I had fun. I think you're the most even-tempered streamer, and it's nice. Thanks. Says you're a devil's advocate type of person. I don't feel that's true. I think I'm very consistent. I think I'm very consistent. I don't think I'm a devil's advocate. I like what I like, and I dislike what I dislike. I've been very consistent with that over the years. I definitely don't always go against the grain. I've never seen Ziz tilted. I tilt a lot. But anyway, then point two, I was miserable. For me, point two was probably the biggest miss that GGD has ever done. A real big miss for me. And then I made a lot of feedback. We did the podcast, and I gave a lot of feedback on the podcast and in DMs to Grinding Your Games. In my opinion, that podcast achieved quite a lot. I got a lot of good pointers from the community, you guys, and people on Reddit, and I think we had a really good podcast, and I think a lot of good things changed from it. And point three was a super W for me. I had so much fun. I played like 700, 800 hours in point three, and I just had a ton of fun. And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for point four. Like, I don't know, what is this, halfway through the patch notes? I'm currently pretty excited for point four. There are some things that I am very worried about. The 40% density thing does not sound good to me. I'm very concerned. I am going to try it and see if I like it. That is how I approach things. I will try it. If I'm having fun, I am going to keep playing. If I'm not having fun, I will make a video detailing why, and then I will go play something else. That is how I approach life. I do not understand this whole, like, seeing something, instantly flipping the table and going around telling everybody how much I'm not going to try something. That is weird to me. The thing is, I feel like after fucking 13 years of playing Path of Exile, I have enough trust in them at this point that if something is dog shit, they will probably fix it. Or I would not have been playing this game for fucking 13 years. Lingering Illusion now lingers for 3 seconds instead of 1, 2. 1% of your max life, previously 15. Power charge from Remnant on pickup rather than running a power charge when the illusion was destroyed. Oh. Huh. Interesting. That seems like maybe a slightly more reliable power charge generation. Point 4 seems to be lacking in content. Again, to me, these comments are very confusing for something we have not even tried yet. All of those comments are very confusing. Do you know when I make those comments? After having played it. I also feel like these people have never played any other game. I feel like for both PoE 1 and PoE 2, GGD consistently puts out more content than any other video game. I'm really excited for the new league mechanic. Yeah, it looks really cool. I liked Synthesis, so I think it'll be good. Living Bomb, slight buff, and a decent buff at the end. Wasn't that usable already? Wasn't Living Bomb quite good? Am I tripping? Less density scares me. It scares me too. Like there are loads of things I'm concerned about. Like, I'm not going to, like, blindly just be like, everything is the best thing ever. I just want to try it first before I say something is shit. If I say something is shit, like Dawn of the Hun, there will be good reasons for me saying that. You know? That's all. And the thing is, there's so many other games to play if it is shit. Not every league needs to be the best thing ever. Anyone who feels disappointed or let down by today's stream should have, Yeah, the thing is, if you think it's so much better other places, Diablo 4 is coming out the day before. You will have at least 8 hours of content there. At least. Maybe 9. You know? There are options. Explosions now convert 100% of physical damage to lightning instead of 40. Cool. Mana Tempest, linger for 2 seconds. Oh, that's nice. Oil Grenade is 4 second cooldown instead of 5. Perfect Strike. Do you know, I'm not gonna lie, does D4 do leagues like PoE? I mean, do you mean like, leagues are a thing? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say they do them like PoE. It's quite different. A lot less stuff. But yeah, they do them. Titan Quest 2 just updated. They're sponsoring me tomorrow, which is cool. I actually like just did a big playthrough for Titan Quest for free anyway, so getting sponsored to check it out is even better. Perfect Strike, buffed. Permafrost Bolts. Do you know, I really want to play Totems again. I had such a fucking good time playing the Cancer Cannon. I really did. I don't know if I could play it again, though. I think I can't play that build until I get an opacity slider. Cancer Cannon? Yeah, I don't know. Do we have a clip of me playing it? It was actually negatively affecting my viewership. I stopped playing that just because of my viewership and my retinas. The day I started playing a different build, I went from like 4K viewers to 6 or 7. I don't know if we have a clip of an example. I think we can probably fish one out. I like almost doubled my viewership quitting it. It was fun though. Plasma Blast. The crossbow build was really cool. That was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot. 50% magnitude of shock instead of... Oh, increased instead of more. Yeah, they're really cracking down on shock. This campaign adventures? That one? Oh yeah. You can tell by the sunglasses. Look at my fucking face in the clip, dude. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was I remember my wife walked into the room and she looked at me for like 10 seconds and she was like, "What the fuck?" Oh shit. Yeah, that was something. Um I actually like probably killed like 20 viewers that have epilepsy. Um, Primal Strikes, 20 melee strike range instead of 5. Wow, that's like a lot. Inflicts exposure on hit, lowering resistances by 50. Wait, this sounds really good. Rain of Arrows now only consumes 1 frenzy charge. Okay. What if there's a way to like get a lot of frenzy charges? Removes removed fires 50% more arrows per frenzy charge consumed. Ah, that's why. Now fires 150 more arrows if a frenzy charge instead of 100. Okay. I'm confused. Raised Zombie. Empowered Zombie. A lot more damage. Rapid Assault. Spearhead Explosion. 540 damage instead of 312. Reap. No longer has base crit of... Oh, now is 14 instead of 11. Roa Mount. No longer increases your movement speed. As 100% reduced movement speed penalty from using skills while mounted, previously 80. Hog. W. Do you know what? Hot take. Row amount has been removed from the game. In my opinion, would have been better for the game. There's... Do you know that, like, what's that, like, surprise, motherfucker? What's that guy called? Dokes. You know the Dokes meme? Or if he's like, I suspect, but I just can't prove it. You know that meme? Row amount only exists because of cosmetic sales and no other reason. That's my conspiracy theory. This was made to sell cosmetics and no other reason. I just can't prove it. I can't prove it, but that's my headcanon. Sacrifice. Now runs minions revive 46 to 40% more slowly instead of 66 to 60. Huh. Skeletal Reaver. 6% attack speed per true rage. Oh. Huh. And said row amount conspiracy. Did Sis drink alcohol today? No, I don't really drink. To be fair, I did have one bramble yesterday. I love brambles. Charge Scavenger. Buff duration is now 3 seconds instead of 2. Minimum duration between consumption is 6.5. Cool. Shattering Palm causes an explosion if the target dies while you're dashing to them. Shock Chain Arrow. Projectile now converts 80 instead of 20. Whoa, big change. Shock Chain Arrow no longer releases secondary beam that continue to split. Instead, the initial projectile now consumes shock to create a shading secondary projectile, which creates a lightning rod in the ground near its target after its final chain. A secondary projectile does not consume shock on target's hit and deals up to 507, so slight nerf. Interesting change. Shield Charge Collision now deals 250 damage instead of 217. Siege Cascade now deals 100% more damage against immobilized enemies, and quality 0 to 40% more damage against immobilized enemies, previously 0 to 80. Snipe deals 2160 instead of 1878 damage, and remove Heavy Blast and Heavy Interaction from the... I am not sure what the functionality is of that. I didn't really use Snipe. I don't fully know that one. Soul Offering. Spike duration is 6 instead of 4. Spark. Cold Infused Spark now deals same damage at level 1. Slightly buffed at level 20. Cold Infused Spark now deals... Okay, cool. Cool. I use this. This is my last character. The Cold Spark is the same. Oh, it's buffed. But we shock less on other things. First, they didn't add Infused Spark, now adds a 0.5 second of cooldown. Yeah, that seemed unnecessary on Ice Nova. The Snipe one is basically the extra damage you get from Heavy Stone Interaction is now the base damage instead. Why is the Roa bad? It just sucks that it does not work for all the skills. Well, it's not objectively bad, right? Like, at the end of the day, all I have is my opinions. I'd never have, like, the factual, this is objectively better, or this is objectively worse. The reason I don't like it is that it does feel a little bit mandatory. And it makes it feel like you almost have to do it for clear speed at the end game and stuff. I think stuff like that is very, very easy to feel mandatory, is my my take on it. It makes... It's a little bit like, for example, in Path of Exile 1, there was an amulet added to the game called Bisco's Leash, and it became mandatory because you would get 2 to 3 times more stuff by having the amulet. It was like, it was just so insane. From like, you had to design your build around not needing a unique amulet because you needed Bisco. Whenever I feel like something is like almost mandatory, or not necessarily mandatory, but when I feel stupid for not doing something, then I don't like it in the game. Way before Highest Biscos came out. So, oh yeah, it was Bisco's collar, that's it. Did Ashes get to that point for you, sis? Yeah, but I think like later on it would have been more okay. Like, my favorite thing in a video game is when we have many difficult choices. And the way Havoc put it one time, the choice between different OPs. Whenever I'm feeling like, fuck, oh, I want this, but then I don't get that. That's the best feeling a game can give me. I think Path of Exile 1 does that the best on the Atlas. The Atlas is really good for that, in my opinion. I'm like, fuck, oh, I want that, but I want that. Oh, but I want that one. I want to do that at the same time, but then I can't do that. The more of that in the game, the more entertaining the game is, in my opinion. Ashes didn't reach that point because Omni also existed. Yes, but they were very strong amulets that patch. We do have a lot more different things, and it can be okay for something to be almost the de facto best, like Mage Blood, as long as it's appropriate rarity. Because it is like, important for items like that to exist too. So it depends a little bit. You can balance it in many ways, and also it's okay for something to be like that for one patch. Sometimes things like that get really problematic. Like, okay, this thing has been the only way to do something for 1.5 years. It needs to go. That's my take on it. If something's gonna be the default way to do something, it should not stay the default way to do something forever. Prayer Solaris removed, generates 100% on monster power as glory for this skill on heavy, stunning an enemy. Generates 1 glory when you inflict freeze, shock, or chill on an enemy. Okay. Spiral Volley. 206 attack damage, so slight buff. Staggering Palm. There's quite a lot of skill changes. Projectiles deal 204 attack damage to gem 320. Duration will start decreasing after the first projectile has been generated. Okay. Grants its buff if a prime enemy is stunned or killed while you're dashing to them. Now also quickly dashes and strikes additional valid targets. Like Seismic Trap? Yeah, like sometimes it overstays its welcome. Or like Detonate Dead. Detonate Dead and Seismic were like good examples of that. Like, I would say I never really stay. I've never really been a this is the skill I play streamer. I'll have like a period of like Explosive Arrow, Essence Drain, Righteous Fire, and I'll play it for like a period where it's useful to me and I like it, but I don't like get particularly attached to one skill where I only care about that thing. The only thing that I played a lot more than anything else was Valspark. Whereas like I had 36 Valspark characters, I only had 8 or 9 Explosive Arrows. So like I swap around quite a lot. I like use something when it's useful. I don't particularly care or want to identify with a skill. I had less than 10 ED contagions. The only thing I had a lot of was Valspark. You mean like RF box? Yeah. Yeah. Like I will use something while it's useful, not because I love it, if that makes sense. Storm Lance. Frenzy Charge and Power Lance. 8 seconds. Storm Colorado. Projectiles now convert to 80% instead of 40. Fox enemies is still dealing 50% more damage and converts to 100 instead of 80. Thunder has a base attack speed of 40 instead of 35. Do you know, I can't help but think, but just like so many things would just feel incredible with some more attack speed or some more action speed. I really feel that way. I really feel like so many things that feel bad feel that way because of their speed. Like just moving fast feels amazing. Almost all maces. Yeah, and I really hope they just remove the negative attack speed on the tree. I really agree with Mathil. I hate the whole like gives you 80% more damage but puts your balls in a vice. I don't want my balls in a vice. Supercharged Sam now has an attack time override of 0.85 seconds, previously 1. Tempest Bell, impact radius is 2.1 instead of 1.8. Bell shockwave radius is 2.6 instead of 2.4. Under sleep, 100% more shock. Huh, surprised. To be fair, a lot of the limit on his Mary runes, I'm sure we all realize that the limit is because you can have more sockets on gear now, right? With double corruption, you can probably have like 4 or 5 socketed boots now. And that's probably why they don't want people getting like 310 movement speed from one boot. Right? I'm sure we all agree that is the main reason for the changes. I think we're going to see a large power spike at the top end from double corruption. That would be my guess. But all good socketables are now unique. There will always be new things added. I am suspecting a big power creep at the top end. Also, movement speed was mandatory, even with 2 sockets anyway. True. Toxic Domain now runs 54 to 82 life regen. Doubled. No, literally doubled. Pustule explosion mechanics are now consistent skills. They have a base detonation of 15 seconds. Faster by poisoning the pustules in a more violent explosion. Pustule is just a weird word, like moist. Toxic growth now has a limit of 12 pustules instead of 8, fires 4 instead of 8, and a base attack speed of 100 instead of 80. Vaulting Impact. Broken stance by Vaulting Impact has a 60-second duration and is removed after taking 10 hits. Amount of pre-mitigation, physical damage, broken stance. Now 10% instead of 5. Vaulting Impact quality is the number of hits broken stance before being removed. 2 instead of the duration. Vine Arrow gains +1 limited plants. Volcanic Fissure 166 instead of 145. Voltaic Grenade 3 uses instead of 2. Cooldown is 4 seconds instead of 5. The Voltaic Mark no longer makes the target susceptible to shock or cause an explosion. Instead, makes the target more susceptible to being electrocuted. And on electrocuting a marked target grants you a buff which gains extra damage as lightning for a duration or until you mark another target. Huh. Wave of Frost. Now can be used to cancel other actions. Whirling Assault. Baseline has been marked to include. Plus 1 second of total attack time instead of 1. Or previously 1.4. 14 melee strike range. Oh, they've got a lot melee strike range. Wind Dancer. Gale Force, 82% of 1. How much is left? Oh, wow. Wow. Oh my god. That was so much longer than I was expecting. I definitely needed a pre-break. Alright. I'm gonna take a quick pre-break. If you're watching the raw VOD of this, just skip until I'm sitting back down. I need to be right back. That's so long. Huh. Talismans are not one-handed though, they are two-handed. Round spectrums now roll 6% to all ally res per Soccer round spectrum instead of 4. Sandstorm Visage. Every second inflicts critical weakness in your presence for 15 to 20 seconds. Okay. Maxilod's Machination. 66 to 333 effective socketed soul cores instead of 100. Huh. We made better or worse with the Divine Orb. Good luck. Cool. The Adorned 0 to 150. Ooh, is Lance half mast, full mast? This, I feel like Adorned is such a Lance thing. Asylum, more armor innovation. Perfidy, more armor innovation. I love that they're buffing like the base armor, like the base defenses, because like PoE 2, like base defense is such a bigger thing. Don't make Adorn good. I love Adorn. Do you think that can be double corrupted? Adorn? Oh yeah. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Oh, maybe you can get like 180% Adorn now. Oh, that'd be exciting. I like Adorn. Melting Maelstrom now is 3 seconds. Do you guys like when I highlight like that? 3 seconds during effect. Deal 100% of mana in those seconds. Chaos damage enemies within 3. Percy 50. Ooh. Struggle Scream can have 3 additional installed modifiers. Used to be 2. Ooh. Soft's Blood. Enemies in your presence have minus 20 fire res. 50 to 100 fire res instead of 30 to 40. Fire of the Storm. 50 to 100 lightning. Do you know, I'm a big fan of big ranges on items. I really like big ranges. It's so cool. You can Fileborn them too. Only Val items can be Fileborn. They said that like normal items can be Fellborn, but that's like more like an ancient orb so that you don't waste. Pandemonium is 50 to 100 cold. Control Metamorphosis now no longer is minus 23 to 3. Yes, Res. Svalin, you take 0 to 20 damage from blocked hits, previously 15 to 20. Wow. Whoa. Whoa. Wait. Wait. Okay, first off, that's fucking insane. Can you corrupt it negatively to be positive, as in you take less damage from blocked hits? Do you think it... Can we get negative damage from blocks? Yeah. Because it doesn't have a minus, so can it corrupt negatively? Like, how does corruption work on that? Imagine if you take 5% less damage from blocked hits. Well, that would only apply if you're taking damage from blocked hits from something else. That doesn't really matter. It's kind of irrelevant. I kind of just overthought it. It doesn't really matter. I feel like that wouldn't work. It might go negative, but I don't think it would do anything. Well, it would if you use another item. Like, do we still have the boots that have, like, you take 10% damage of blocked hits? But anyway, I think I'm overthinking it. Doesn't matter. Swallen is 200 to 300% increased armor. This is going to be such a good divine target, huh? And Val target. Honestly, like, Swallen is, like, S tier now. Keeper of the Ark. 150 to 250 ES. Keeper of the Ark is deal. Take 40% less damage with hits and take 40% less damage with time. Previously 30 for both. Ooh. All Rust Resolve, excess life, added as guard for 20 seconds instead of 10. Warrior Invictus. Cool. A lot of defense increases. Soulless Ipsis, you can socket 2 additional copies of each linear support gem in different gems. Previously 1. Ooh. That could be interesting now with all the new ones too. Tiny Equio, take 20% more damage. Oh. Previously 25% less. Oof. Cool. Big change. Ab Eternal buff, Mind of the Council. Do you know, though these are really, really big changes. Like, they will add up. I really feel, I still stand by this. I really feel like they over police tank in these games. I really, really think, like, I personally, I always think it's way cooler to see somebody take 0 damage from something and have really invested into their tank than it is to watch some fucker come over and one-shot something and wipe something out of existence just by looking at it. And that's what I always end up doing anyway. It ends up being the way to tank on hardcore is just to have giga damage. Like, the fact that, like, I think like every season now I've died to like fucking up something on Arbiter. I think everything I've died to on Arbiter has been changed. So hopefully I won't die to the same thing anymore. Cause like they've like changed Arbiter every time I've died to that. But like, I don't know. I don't mind like dying to something like fucking up a memory game. But like, I don't know. There are some things on like PoE2 bosses where I'm like, bro, does everything have to like one shot the smallest mistake? It's a little, and then when something one shots the smallest mistake, I'm like, well, then I will just go damage. If I'm going to die to every single mistake, why invest into tank at all? And then every time I've killed Arbiter, it's just been like, you know? And I don't want to. I would rather really invest into tank and be able to make one mistake. But anyway, that's my rant. How do you feel about having to kill Arbiter and be able to get 4 more tablets? I'm fine with that. I just... The only gripe I have with Arbiter is the whole, like, 2 punishing for 1 mistake, making tank pointless. I am okay. I'm okay with it being as punishing as it is, except that all it does is encouraging damage. Does that make sense? Like, if getting that much damage wasn't an option, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Then we still have a reason to invest into defense. But every time I've killed Arbiter, it's just like, yeah, you should just go S tier uber damage. And that's how I always killed him. because, and I don't get to practice him a lot either, right? Because parkour, I get one shot. I've killed him a few times. 5. I farmed him one season. And again, I farmed him with Giga damage. A Raspith Globe. Non-chanting spells have a 3% crit per 100 life. Previously 5%. Big nerf. Oh, I missed a few here. Some buffs there. Defines the Destiny. Recover 20 to 30 missing life before being hit by an enemy. Big buff. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't make it 10 to 30. To be completely honest with you. I'm a sucker for just big ranges, dude. I think I would have liked it more with 10 to 30. I think big ranges and a good divine sync and stuff, I think that's cool. I really think that's cool. Or even make it like 0 to 35. I love the Gamba, dude. Hammer of Faith, 300 to 350 increased fist damage. Lioness Glare, barrageable attacks, repeat +2 times if no enemies are in your presence. Okay. Doomfletch has attacks with this weapon gain 100% fist damage as extra. And hopefully we can up Doomfletch, presume. Isn't Doomfletch a Val item? Doesn't that have Val text on it or something? I don't think so. Kiwi, Doomfletch, presume. I don't know why it feels Val-y. It does have Val text on it. The Val 1,000 years ago came up with a more delightful method of murder than I could ever wish for. Surely that makes it a Val item. It has Val text on it. That's in settings, switch XPW. Or try a different browser. In your BTTV settings. The Whispering Ice plus 5 to 7 level of all cold spell skills. Wow. 5 to 10% int, 2% spell damage per 10 int. LA exposure. Wow, this one might be kind of good now. Huh. LA exposure on hit. 60%. Wow, this was kind of cracked, no? Covenant, skills gain base life cost equal to 100% instead of 50. 10% spell damage leeches life, previously 5. Grants life remnants. Silks of Veneration, 10 to 20 all res. And more ES. Cool. That'll be a big one. Plug of Defiance, more mana regen. 50% damage taken from mana before life, previously 30. Ooh. Interesting. Voltaxic Rift, up to 500 lightning damage. 1 to 300 to 500. Cool. Brass Dome. Isn't Brass Dome dog shit in PoE 2? Am I tripping? I feel like it is. I can't remember now. PoE 2 Brass Dome. Isn't this Ultra Garbo? Yeah, minus max res. Excellent. Maybe it'll be good with upping. If that can be upped. If you can up the base, it's insane. Yeah. And then the max res penalty doesn't matter. I really hope Uppies made it in. I was a little confused on that. Oligar's Virtuosity, it's your critical hit chance cannot be re-rolled. Huh. Come Calamity as heralds 50 to 100% damage. Cool. Ghost Ray, 35% max life converted to energy shield. Previously 25. Huh. Look of Flame, 30 to 50 max ES. Look of Flame, 50% taken as fire instead of 40. Wow. That's a big item now. Yeah, it'll be quite expensive on software at least. Widow's Reign now has lives that would be lost by taking damages instead of reserved until you take no damage for 3. Lightning Coil is 30 to 50% physical damage from hits taken as lightning damage. Previously 20 to 40. Ah? Isn't this so far behind Cloak of Flame now? This is up to physical 50% physical damage from hits taken as lightning and has a downside. Cloak of Flame is just 50% physical damage taken as fire as the default, and then 1.2 multiplier, so you can make it 60. Better base and stats on it. Yeah. I don't know. Better base, dex, and life. This is 50. Maybe 50. And it's like negative lightning rest. Well, can give 1,000 armor for Armored Ellie. Yeah. Okay, I guess you're right. Vol's Protector, 150 to 200. No longer drops on plated vestments. Oh, now drops on plated vestments instead of iron. The Surrender now drops on Val Tower Shield base, previously Stone Tower Shield. Couture Crimson, this is a big change. Couture Crimson, 10 to 15 max life, previously 25% reduced. Couture of Crimson. Oh. Life Leech can overflow maximum life. Wait, this is maybe useful now. 10 to 15% life and overflow. Isn't that really good? Wait, that's such a large change from 25% reduced to 15 positive. That's like actually a potent change. Sacrosanctum, 10 to 20 damage for equipped his life, previously 5 to 10. That's your life note. The Iron Inheritance now has all damage taken from hits contributes to magnitude of chill. Selected on you. Warrior Invictus, 10 to 14 spirit per socket filled. We updated with the Divine Orb. How many sockets do you think we can get on that now? I think we can get like 6. Just buffs on everything, right? 45 to 60 life. Wow. 6, 7. Double defense buffed. Free duration buffed. Hits against you have 15 to 20 reduced crits. Dude, honestly, I'm thinking about league starting Smith and Katava. By what I'm seeing so far. Like, Smith or Katava Druid bear thing sounds really fucking potent to me. Crit immunity is just so big as well. But yeah, like Bear of Katava just sounds sick. Pause up. Hires ire 25%. And like I love the armor buff too. Hires ire now no longer has 25% shelteration on enemies. No longer adds full damage attacks. 15 to 25 damage as extra cold. Wow. Raise restoration. Queen of the Forest now has 25% movement speed, previously 0, and 1% movement speed per 600 evasion, previously 800, capped at 50, previously uncapped. Oh, rip. Rip! 07. Thunderfist, Crack Palm, now is 15 base crit instead of 5. Ooh, wow. 40% more lightning damage at all levels. Wasn't this insane already? Isn't this nuts now? Adonia's Ego. 15% more LE damage per power charge consumed, previously 8. How can a newbie get into this game? PoE 2 is quite a lot more accessible than PoE 1. There are more like in-game tutorials and stuff. And especially if you're already on like YouTube or Twitch asking questions, then like you'll have a pretty easy time, to be honest. It's not as bad as PoE 2. As PoE 1. PoE 1 is quite hard to get into. Lightning Quell Valako's charge now has its bolts chained 2 additional times and deal 100% more damage. Perfidy 10 to 30, avoid fist damage. Previously 10 to 40, made worse. 10 to 30, avoid chaos. Avoid fire. Oh, now it's 10 to 30, avoid fire, avoid cold, and avoid lightning. Oh, I see. Skin of the Loyal. Elemental ailment is increased by uncapped chaos resistance from overcapped resistance. Armor, energy shield by cold. Oh. Oh. Huh. A big change. By uncapped now instead of overcapped. So plus 75. Choir of the Storm's Lightning Bolt has 5 cooldown uses, previously 1. Interesting. That could be cool. All Rosavera now has. Do you remember when it was infinite? Maybe not anymore, Skria. All Rosavera now on hitting an enemy gains maximum added lightning damage equal to enemy's power for 20 seconds, up to a total of 500. Unborn Lich. Rolls 4 death credit modifier. 53. Is that the jewel? Oh no, it's the staff. Isn't that still dead in the water when he can't get post skill gems though? Right. It'll be good in the future. Grip of Kulamak has had many of its modifier ranges buffed. Sacrifice of the Blood Keystone by Undying Hate now runs regen 1 life per 16 life spent in the past 4 seconds instead of past 8. Oh. Now it's 20% more life cost instead of 50. Okay. Rune sockets has been renamed to augmented sockets. Non-jewel items that go to the augment sockets being renamed socketables to augments. Existing augment talisman are being renamed to idols. Existing items that have invalid augment sockets from the following limit will be unusable to be used until the sockets are once again valid. Damn. A lot of people are gonna have to delete stuff. Hedge Witch Assandra's Rune of Wisdom limited to 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Now runs 50%, reduced effect curse is previously 40. 25% effect. A lot of 1. Some buffs here. Power up by 5. Cost efficiency up by 2. 1% more damage here. 3% more restoration. 40% of armor applies to cold, lightning, and fire by 10. And runs 12% increased speed of recoup. 1% more chaos res penalty. Minions eat shit here. 10% chance to inflict elemental exposure instead of lightning. Modifier for bow, fire, X additional arrows and bows have been disabled. Oh shit. A new modifier, surpassing chance to fire 1 additional arrow. Huh. You have to like add them up now. 75 to 200. Interesting. You can have 2.5 additional arrows now. Actually buffed, is it? Spell damage, specific damage types, damage to extra elemental damage modes on saves are now 33% stronger on average. Magnitudes of damaging element death crit modes on saves rolls from 40 to 64 instead of 31 to 49. Spell damage with spells that cost life death crit mode on saves 121 to 154 instead of 116. Okai can no longer roll the top 2 tiers of spell damage and specific damage modifiers. More ES. Totemic Great Club now has War Cries and power and additional attack. Previously crushes enemies on hit, and now has more damage. Forge Ball, now's the implicit crushes hit. Less damage. Okay. Anvil also has less damage, but crush now. Upgrade armor 16 to 30. 1 attacks per second, previously 105, so it's slower. 10% damage increase. Slightly slower. Loads of base type changes. Okay, off calls. Now grants +1 fire to spells instead of +2. Off the mage, +1 all spells. Has a requirement of 10, previously 5. +3 is now +4, so we lost 1 level. Perfect Essence of Battle. +3 level of attack skills and one-hander from 4, and +5 from +6. More spell damage. I mean, this helps a little bit. It's like a little bit of a band-aid. 188 spell damage instead of 129. Why nerf essences though? Because, I mean, are you really surprised they nerfed essences? I'm not surprised they nerfed essences at all. I'm surprised this wasn't nerfed more. I'm surprised this isn't +3 and +2. Yeah, crossbows are still incredibly strong. Perfect Essence of Battle, +4, 5. Okay. 5% movement speed instead of reduced penalty. Carl's Rune of Grace, 8% deflection rating while moving. Rip of Coolman can no longer roll movement speed penalty. Desecrated modifier on amulet that granted skills a chance to not consume glory. Now, instead of going 20 to 30 chance for skills to retain 40% of glory. Okay. Desecrated modifier granting reduced movement speed penalties from skills being removed. Added a relic locker to every end of the floor. Light-footed can no longer roll. Was that the rolling one? Acrobatic. Drop steal 75%. Oh, okay. So they've been nerfed. Now it's free +5. Yeah. They had that for winning Path of Exile Royale. Yeah. I have a row being roasted. Endgame changes. Maps no longer scale pack size as you increase in tier. They instead increase non-unique monster effectiveness. Effectiveness grants monsters increased life, increased experience granted, and increased quantity of items dropped. Tablets now have a maximum of 4 modifiers. Do you know, I don't know why I have a bad feeling about this. It feels like something that we will be getting like conspiracy theory videos about. To unlock the ability to craft a tablet beyond 2 modifiers, you have to defeat the Arbiter of Ash. No longer drops a rare corrupted tablet. Man, Arbiter of Ash service is going to be popular. All tablets that would be able to roll generic precursor tablet can now roll on all tablet base types. Following has been disabled. Plundering, Pursuit, and Envy. Reward progress. Sensor to generate additional reward. Added new modifiers. Increased effectiveness of monsters. Unique monsters +1 rare modifier. Re-enabled Undertaking. Map has 1 to 2 additional random. Following tablet has been buffed. Collector, more rarity, pack size, increased magic monsters, number rare monsters, gold, more speed, more rare chests, more waystones, additional modifier, rare mobs, 50 to 80 instead of 30 to 80. Okay, quite a lot of like decent changes, I guess. I also had already quit the season at the point where they removed towers. So I'm actually quite excited to play with the new Waystone system. Was it good? Like the tower removal in the new system? Was it nice? Am I gonna enjoy it? Like, is the new system better? A lot less tedious. Cool. Well, these are just like straight up buffs on a lot of things. Higher numbers. Higher number better. Prayer of Wealth has been removed due to greed shrines no longer being available. The High Road no longer provides base stones, so have a chance to be a higher tier. Provides 10% chance to be rare and corrupting. Huh. Yeah. Okay. Get out of my head. I've been swapped places. Been reworked. Provides magic monsters have a 25% chance of additional delirium modifier. 100% rarity of items. Okay. I really, do you know, I would like them to lean into tiered items more. I really think the tiered items is the way to go. I think that's like such a good way to solve like item bloat. But I think like a tier 5 item should almost always be exciting. Whereas I don't really feel like the tiered system works as well as it should. I'm not particularly excited for looting a tiered item. It's sort of whatever. I'm still very unlikely to identify good items. And I want to be. I want to be excited to identify items. Layer demons in your maps, 10% quant. Waystones can only remain still. I guess most of these are to make up for like the lack of installation. Create visuals of Delirium Fog, added a radius around the player that improves clarity further. Nice. Delirium no longer has the reward bar indicator, and Delirium monsters have a chance to drop liquid emotions. Interesting. Delirium bosses have a guaranteed liquid emotion drop. Boss waves in Zamalkium can drop a liquid emotion, a chance of being higher tier. Idols of Estwani are no longer required to unlock Vault map. Vaults of Kamasa are no longer affected by party bonuses. I didn't know that they were. That's kind of cracked. Removed camera zoom out on completion of tower maps. Added an objective for activating all the checkpoints. All the map icons will be revealed. Removed Breach, Ritual, Delirium, and Expedition from the map legend, as they no longer have icons shown on the map, and instead can be found randomly. Monster changes. Bosses now have an anti-burst damage mechanic. Once the boss has finished its emerge or becomes aggro, the damage reduction period starts counting down. The damage reduction tapers from full effect to no effect over the course of this duration. For every unit the boss moves from its starting location will fall off even faster. Bosses which cannot or barely move have a short... Oh. Ha! Does that... PoE 1 has that. I can remember how it is in PoE 2, but in Path of Exile 1, the boss does not gain its abilities until it takes damage. So for example, you can try this with Merveil, and she only has like one ability, or Brutus is an even better one. If you're just running around Brutus, and you don't damage him at all, if it's at 100% life, he doesn't have abilities. All he does is the auto attacks, and maybe one other ability. In PoE 1, all bosses, they gain their abilities as they take damage. That's why, for example, the Brutus Slam you don't see until like 75% health or 60% health, something like that. He just doesn't do it. If that's the same for PoE 2, especially on hardcore, we're going to be incentivized to like AFK kite the boss for 10-15 seconds before we hit them. I didn't even know this. Yeah, you can go test on Brutus right now. Does not gain his abilities until like 60% health. Most bosses have this. It's like every boss is anti-burst in PoE 1. Interesting. Improve the visibility of the explosive fungus encountering the Grim Tangle. Visibility. Improve the mid-fight change. Finally 2 boss. The Great White One boss. Wait, which one's the Great White One? Great White One, PoE 2. Oh, the shark. There's nothing about the monkey, right? Do you know, honestly, the monkey is the most dangerous thing during the campaign. There's nothing remotely dangerous compared to the monkey. He has so many fast lambs. I'm so scared of that thing now. Yama? No, I'm not scared of anything else than the Act 2 monkey. Nah, that's a you problem. Okay, name one boss that's more dangerous than the monkey in Act 2. Like the gorilla. Name one thing that's more dangerous, and why. You just stay behind the monkey and it's fucking useless? That's just not true. Oh yeah, it's Act 3. Act 3. Yeah, Silverfist. The other monkey? No. Lachlan? No. Lachlan is pretty dangerous too. The gravity guy? No. Nothing's more dangerous than Silverfist. Not even remotely close. Blackjaw? No. Viper? No. No, nothing's more dangerous than Silverfist. Act 4 guy? No, you're crazy. The one that drops off a building? No. Silverfist is by far the scariest thing in the game. Silverfist is such a nothing burger. Said this softcore player. Shut up. Made various improvements to Rogue Exile behavior. Re-enabled the following Rogue Exiles. Tawa, Ulred, Russian, and the Deft. You just have PTSD with him? You know, I had not died to him until last season, and then I died twice. Act 4 guy was by far the hardest for me. Really? I thought he was so easy compared to Silverfist. Viper is deadlier? Viper is like a complete joke. Viper is so easy. The thing is, oh, but they fixed the thing I died to. That does fix it a lot. Did you ever try not dying to him? Well, the thing I died to, they fixed. I forgot they fixed it. Cause I died to like a bug with rolling, where I rolled and it like rolled back me into the slam. I guess it won't really be. Fuck me. I'm not gonna say it because if I die, it'll be so embarrassing now. But at least they fixed that bug. I know I'm gonna go fucking over level for that shit. I have monkey PTSD. The roll was bonkers before. I have so much PTSD. Oh shit. Oh my god. The blind beast no longer has a battle soaked tome. Grants a misshrouded tome, which grants 2. Okay. You can now open a portal to Olderos Arena after it's been defeated. Causes lightning barrage. Say it so you can clip it. Titan is more dangerous. I'm not scared of anything but Silverfist. I'm so scared of Silverfist. Even after they fixed the bug I died to, I'm so PTSD. I'm scared just thinking about it. The only hard thing during the campaign. So scary. Some of the interfaces that could not be paneled now allow dual cursor, so players can interact with the UI at the same time. Cool. Support gem changes, full equip skills are now shown when hovering a support gem. Firstly, live I missed in years. What's your TLDR on the opinion? You excited? Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Like medium excited. 6 out of 10 excited. Like, I'm not like jumping off the seat, and there's a lot of things I'm worried about. I want to check it out myself. I don't like dooming on something I haven't tried. Yes, right. On the waypoint world map, selecting underground locations will now immediately teleport you instead of toggling. Oh, nice. That one's huge. Added a quick search to the stat filters in the trade market. Nice. Stackable items will no longer be merged into the existing item stack. Nice. Optimized item search for the in-game market browser. Do you know the amount of people that didn't know you could hit left bracket to open in-game market search was staggering. Your current rage is no longer displayed in your buff bar. Instead, there's a rage meter next to the mana globe. Cool. Your cursor size has been changed to a slider. This was my best suggestion. I'm so happy they did this. It was such a nice thing in PoE 1. Do you know, I really do appreciate that they just see things in videos or like on Reddit and they're like, yeah, we should add that. It's so nice. It's huge W. Added a new cursor tracking input for keyboard and mouse users, which allows you to continue updating their target location after the input seal is released. Cool. Such as rolling slam and whirling assault. Ah. That's nice. When switching between controller and keyboard, the game will remember if you use WC or not. Nice. Refactored couch co-op. Most player skills will be paneled to minimize disruption. Cool. Microtransaction changes. Cool. I don't care that much. They're just working on it and making it better. That's nice. Enabled finisher effects. I hate finishers. Bug fixes. Fix the bug where effects that spread and ignite were incorrectly just inflicting a single hit's worth of flammability when it tried to spread, and only igniting if flammability was high enough at the time. Okay, that explains a lot. I've tried ignite several times now. Honestly, I feel like the patch notes were better than the reveal even. Fixed an issue where lightning warp could remove corpses of reviving monsters. Wind dancers, Nova didn't scale area. Ravenous Swarm did not display correctly. Electrocuting arrow when able to hit enemies that were too short. That's funny. Thornskin fixed the bug where multiple copies of Thornskin or Thornskin 2 could be active at the same time. Oh! Oh dear God. Isn't that like a massive nail in the coffin on Thorns? I was using like fucking 8 or some shit. Isn't Thorns like mega dead now? Bloodhunt, blood loss. Incorrect amount of damage. Yeah, I was using so many when I played Thorns. Visuals for Ice Nova weren't always matching the area which it hit. Smith and Kitava Manifest Bear would only do damage in the first half of its dash. Flurry not generating while in row mount. Flurry generated from any monster space any weapon set passives. Oh. Charge staff did not have lightning. Preventing the living lightning from being able to support by certain gems. Perfection was only granting more hit damage rather than all damage. Dark Effigy to have a longer than intended delay before finishing its first projectile. Battershot wasn't working with Fortifying Cry nor Ancestral Cry. Exposure applied by oil bypassed some defensive mechanics. Second Wind 3 support wasn't working with Demon Form. Inhibitor was granting more damage per infusion rather than per infusion type. Uh-oh. Unleash could not support Unearth. Heat Shiver and some modifiers in cases where an enemy could be affected by multiple chills. Blasphemy did not display its icon. Ancestrally boosted some effects were not showing up when MTX are applied. Controlled Metamorph Unique would have its roll ranges beyond the value used to determine. This will not fix rules that were already broken. Soul cores were not removed from the player when used the ultimatum. Gaining charges over time for life or mana floss would not fill both when using the wastegate. Wakapunu Island, Isle of Kin would not appear before you reach the area. Okay. Could be caused with a Kushutu Kwachik Vault or defeated at the same time as they became damageable. Heavy Stunning Krutog would fail to play heavy stun animation. Nameless Seer would not automatically close the shop after you take a unique item. Character models could fail to display. Iron Count saying nothing on Sorcerer's character creation scene. Couch Quab were standing with Party 2 as party leader. Horn of the Vestiri. Quappa, Clan Crushes. We really hope you enjoy Path of Exile 2, Last of the Druids. Thank you for your support. Thanks, Stacy. Very good. Very good. I mean, my TLDR, I'm fucking excited for Druid finally being in the game. So that's what I'm gonna focus on. I am most likely starting Smith and Kitava Bear. So like I'll be like a Bear of Kitava. Most likely. That's probably what I want to do. We'll see. I might look into the actual Druid Ascendancies too. I have concerns. I definitely have concerns. I was probably, for me, the biggest letdown is that the wolf summons look tedious and shit and not a way that I want to play. I don't yet have enough information to know if that's a good opinion or not. I might be wrong. You might be able to go full Druid Summoner. But it looked like a really annoying playstyle that I'm not sure that I will want to play. I have concerns about the density. And I'm not a huge fan on how over policey they are on tank versus damage still. But, you know, that's stuff that might change in the future. I can't open Imgur because I live in the UK and we don't have freedom. It's the talisman, not druid only. No, of course not. Nothing is that specific in Pee-wee, too. You could be a huntress bear. Yeah. I'm going to give the league a good shot and then make up my opinion. I'm not a big fan of this like early dooming. So yeah. Solving the density as a player felt like an interesting challenge. Yeah. My brain was like, must be druid. The wyvern as well looks very cool, but I'm also not a huge fan of like builder spender. I think people are overly dooming about density. Maybe. Maybe. But either way, I'll make like a TLDR as well. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I will always give something a shot before whining too much. Like obviously I have concerns that I'm worried about. And I'm not jumping out of my chair, but I am jumping out of my chair at finally getting to play Druid. A huge fan of Druid in Diablo 2. Even though I mostly only play Sork. But Druid was one of like my second most played. I am also sad there are no Ravens. Well, we don't know all the skills yet. But yeah, probably no Ravens. The wait was unbearable. Okay, get out. Either way, I'll end the YouTube video there. Thanks for watching. Sub if you liked the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.